Education, Laurie Kilmartin.
All right. I noticed in the clips that you post, I'm always looking, it looks like I'm looking down, but I'm actually looking at you. But if I look like this, I'm looking to the camera, but you're 4 feet below me. So it's stupid.
I know. What I want, though, from those clips, two things. Hi, and nice to see you. I'm thinking of...
They know who we are.
This
is your first time here. You're 4 fucking years late. Okay? Introducing yourselves to you.
Right. First one you should listen to, November 8th, 2016. Oh my God, if they could purge that. So, no, what I would like, I think, is that I would like to see your entire head. That's what I try to do on the clips, where I'm just like, if we could, because otherwise then, I mean, your left cheekbone is great, but let's fucking.
Well, Jackie, I'm standing. Sometimes I lean. You know,
that's right. That's right. You're static,
like you. You're a statue in your garage. You know, I'm dancing. I'm surfing a little bit. There's a lot happening here, and sometimes I have to rest from all my activity.
I forget that you're the wiggly, shouty comic. I do. Somebody was like, "Are you going to move around a lot?" You ever get that question when someone's like, "There's a spotlight or something"? I'm like, "I'm not moving. I'm not moving at all." It'll literally just. This is. Did you get this? This will be great. There might be a little bit of this, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, I know everyone's got their style, but when comics are pacing back and forth on a stage, it's so distracting to me. And I feel like whatever they're telling me is repetitive because they don't need to be still to say it. So it's almost, if you're just telling pure jokes or something, you just stand there like Mitch Hedberg. And if you're going back and forth, maybe you're repeating a lot of information in a setup, like in a Chris Rock kind of way, just to hammer it home or whatever. So I don't know. It's a lot to watch, the walking.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm not a huge fan of pacing, and I'm not a huge fan. I don't mind some movement, and especially if the stage is real big, but I don't like pacing, and I am not a fan of laughing at our own material. Just because it is hard to concentrate. It pulls me out of the joke. I'm just like, no, I know you think you're funny. If you could please keep it together. So anyway,
although, there's that guy. I think we've talked about him, right? This guy.
That guy?
Do you know him? I've seen him in so long. But we talked about it. He laughed. I mean, it was part of his set, right? Where his setup was so hilarious to himself that he couldn't continue speaking, and the audience would start going crazy with laughter, anticipating what's coming, and it was very effective. Like, he would kill, but it drives you crazy to watch.
It was shtick. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it always feels contrived, and it feels like I want more out of life than you're like this guy. Do you remember that guy?
Yes.
That guy.
Did he do that?
It. No. He had his shtick.
Oh, you mean the way he looked?
No. There's nothing he can do about that.
I meant like his outfits or something. I meant the unwashed look.
Right. No. I know. It's he has a catchphrase.
I forget it.
And it's over and over again.
What?
And
do you remember it? Are you typing it?
Yeah, if I say it, everyone will know who he is, and you literally have to just DM me. And if you don't know comics, you're not going to know him anyway. So, and you know what that is? That's justice, because that guy bugs the shit out of me. So,
I don't mind that because it is a commitment artistically to something that can be annoying, and obviously is to you.
It's slightly maddening, but yeah.
But I would get mad at the audiences that would laugh at the guy laughing at a setup. I'd be like, you don't know what he's doing? How could you not fucking see through that? Like, I couldn't blame him because he was like, he's working. You're getting the job done. Good for you.
Right.
But I would sit there and just be like appalled.
Yeah. I was
come to the next show and see him do it again, please.
Oh yeah, exactly. Come to the next show. Let's write that down as a possible title, because that it's so true. How many times have you I early days when I get tricked into laughing at something that was so contrived, but had been implied that it wasn't written. And the thing about stand up is that it is written. It's not improv. It's written. And I don't know, in the second show but when you stumble and fall, like there was I think it was the worst time. The first time it happened to me where I became enraged was the clown with the clarinet player whose names are escaping me.
I don't know though. Is that a Midwest thing?
Yeah, hardcore road Midwest Dakotas. He's a clown. He's silent. She plays the the clarinet. They make a mistake around 35 minutes in. She laughs hysterically about it. I laughed so hard. And I was featuring for them. This is mid-90s, and I'm featuring for them, and I laughed and I laughed. I thought it was so great. Second show, they do it again, and I wanted to stab them with a pen. I was like, I fell for it. For it.
Yeah, I mean, you see how they do it. You should have been smarter than that, and you weren't. I still hope it bothers you.
Story of my life. So speaking of which, we both got that loan, right? The Small Business Association,
right,
or whatever.
Yes.
And
yes.
So, and
administration, then right.
Administration. So I get an email asking me for paperwork, and I scrambled to figure out what that paperwork would be. And then I learned what that paperwork would be. And then I give them some of that paperwork. But then the other parts of that paperwork are hazard insurance for my corporation. And I was like,
joke telling corporation of Jackie Cation Incorporated.
Jackie Cation Inc. Has, and the thing, and so I was like, well, what on earth is this? And my accountant is like, well, you might have to get this kind of insurance, like I have for my insurance, for my company. And so she sends me her, and so I go to her insurance company's website, go to the drop-down menu of what do you do? What is your business? Turns out there is no stand-up comic. There's no jokety joke. There's not even entertainment or a fucking clown car.
Right.
And so I call them and they're like, oh, we don't do that. And then I talk to Maria and she's like, well, I've had to have insurance for different festivals, like event insurance. Maybe they mean that. And so I go to that website and I fill it out, and it's $550 to cover for event insurance for a year. And then I call them up and they're like, and I said, do you think this is the insurance? And the woman goes, yeah, this is not the insurance that you were going to want. And so then I just called Lewis Lee, who owns Acme.
He is always your third choice, no matter what the problem is. Have you noticed that? It's taxes, it's marital spats, it's recipes.
So funny. Right. It was just like Chinese food. Anyway. But so I called him and he said, what they want is they want to make sure that wherever your business is and whatever your inventory is covered. Your business address is your home, and the only inventory you have is your merch. So your home insurance should work. And so then I called the government person who had sent me the email because they had put their telephone number in there. And I told her, and she goes, I think that works. Send me the home insurance policy. And so I did that, and she emailed me back within an hour going, yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Thank you for doing all of that, laying a trail for me.
Did you get that email?
Well, listen, I have been stymied by which date to write down.
Okay.
And I'm trying to, and this piece of paper, you basically sent me a Mad Libs, right? Where I just fill in the blanks. It should be super easy because I know almost all the information, but the date and just that hurdle made me so depressed all week. It
just paralyzed?
It weighed on me like something genuinely traumatic. And I still haven't completely finished it yet.
Oh, I was like, I was twitchy as all hell about the whole thing. I was just like, because the thing is whenever I get anything about that, I assume they're going to be saying, could I have all that? Could I have that giant chunk of money that you were going to live off of for the year right now? Could I have it back? That's what I think it's going to be. And it's not that ever. and the date that they want is the date that that they gave you the money.
Okay, but okay.
We can talk off.
Okay,
if
yes.
you want more of that.
But
Anyway.
the other thing, like, I get it's fine, but I mean, your board, show us your board meeting notes. Dude, we're comics. What the fuck are you talking about? But I mean, we're incorporated, so I guess that implies there's the chairman of the board running things here.
Right. We'll talk about that too, because I figured that out as well. So
yes.
And then other than that, I did a bunch of sets this week and was pretty happy with it.
Wait, hold on. Before we move on, did you apply for a second PPP loan?
No, I didn't. You didn't send me the email for that. And
you just go to your bank.
That's the one that they forgive, right?
Theoretically they forgive it. They haven't, I think they're starting in February, their forgivenesses for the first one. So it'll be a partial or all. And then,
but not the
second one's going to be the same deal.
Right, but not the SBA loan. That's not forgiven.
No, totally separate thing. But apply for the second PPP, and then, that might be free money.
Right.
That you've paid into over the years, by the way. So it's actually your money.
Right. It's part of the government that I've paid into off and on for these many decades.
Yes.
And as a tax continues, and will continue to, as it's true. What about you?
Sorry. You had sets. You had good sets.
I had pretty good sets. I've got to do pretty good chunks of time. Like I did a paid benefit, sort of not a paid, like a thank you show for a nonprofit on Wednesday, where I got to do 30. And then Brandy Brown, one of my favorite comics to work with out of Minneapolis.
I knew you were going to say she's from Minneapolis. Do you realize every time you say Brandy's name, you give her hometown as a follow-up?
Oh, no, I did not.
It's a tick. It's a tick. I'm obsessed with it.
All right. Well, I don't know if you know about Laurie Kilmartin from Walnut Creek, but
it's not just Brandy. All right.
Kyle Clark, I don't know. What are you up there in
Simi Valley?
CB Valley, ladies and gentlemen. Jackie Cation.
Where the OJ trial was.
Where the OJ.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a tour?
No, you are super right.
Okay. Two miscarriages of justice carried out in Kyle's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the grass will one day grow over it. And I remember when the OJ trial happened, at the time, for some reason, I don't know why, I was getting the Star magazine delivered to my home.
Sure. It's 200 premises a week right in your mailbox.
Yeah, maybe. But I will say this is that when he got arrested and it was the drama of the OJ trial happened, I refused. I canceled my subscription because he was on the cover of every issue.
Right.
And I couldn't care. I didn't live here. I didn't know him. I didn't know any of the people he killed. I wasn't on the jury. I mean, there's like a litany of things that I was not. I don't even like football. Right. So, and I didn't even like that Naked Gun business or whatever he was. Airplane?
Naked Gun.
I didn't even, I didn't.
You didn't like the movie Naked Gun?
No.
In it.
Was he in Naked Gun or was he in Airplane?
I don't know. You brought up Naked Gun. I haven't seen it in so long. I don't even remember who was in it.
He is prominent in the Naked Gun franchise.
Thank you very much. O.J. Simpson, prominent in the Naked Gun franchise. Please make a note of something to avoid. I don't wanna. I was like, no, I get it. It was those two guys from Madison, Wisconsin. They have names. I think it was.
They're brothers, right?
Yeah, they're brothers, and they were wacky. And I don't mind wacky. Are they?
Yeah, they are. I forget their names, but they're Republicans.
Wow. Well, they can eat a dick then, with their wacky comedy and their Nazi politics. They could fuck right off. But other than that, so I didn't care about OJ, and then I moved here. Well, I do remember that the day the trial, when the jury Do you remember where you were when the verdict came down?
Probably Walnut Creek.
Yeah, it was. I was at a bar, in the middle of the day because it was an excuse to go have a shot and a beer, to watch television.
This is a fun Jackie story.
It was a. You'll be happy to know that I was in charge of customer service at my job.
And happy to know that.
So, but yeah, and speaking of remembering where you were with stuff, I heard somebody's kid was talking about how somebody just said, how is it being, I know you were supposed to be in a junior in high school this semester. I know you probably haven't gone to a brick and mortar school. How was it? And she said, and this kid just matter of factly, like it was to some extent like 9/11, where she goes, I remember when I heard that we wouldn't be going back to school. And she said, and I realized I wouldn't see my friends again, except for online, for months. Or maybe never again, because she is, of course, 15. And but the thing is I was like, this is going to be a big thing for these kids.
Yep.
But I will say the quantity time, like, do you remember spending a year with your parents?
No.
When you were a child?
No, not at all. No.
Yeah. So I think this will be interesting. And
it depends on what the home life is, right? If you got parents working from home, it's probably kind of cool in a way. Mm-hmm. There's a cool offset. I mean, it's not cool to not see your friends and all that, but you have more time with your mother,
Yeah. Yeah.
Your father. I guess there's some kids have those. And then, but I mean, other families, if your parents are essential workers or, they're leaving the house, then you've got kids alone all day long in a house, which is actually pretty sad and frightening a little bit.
Yeah. Like latchkey gone crazy.
Latchkey, yeah, but you don't even leave the house to have a key. You're just behind the latch,
Right.
And I think that's really, really sad. And I don't know. I hope these kids can go to school in September, a lot.
Did you hear about the protest today? Did you see that LA Times?
At Dodger Stadium?
Dodger Stadium? Yeah. It was only a couple of dozen anti-vaxxers and their crazy nutbag selves.
They should be run over. Like there's hundreds of people in cars trying to get their lives saved. And these people are interrupting it and causing it a shutdown. They should be run over.
Right. Or at least gathered up with a large cow catcher. You know those things on the front of the steam engine of a choo-choo? That's a cow catcher. Now,
cows don't survive that, do they?
I don't know. Probably. They're probably broken a little bit.
Catcher implies that it's a gentle, save, but it's actually a cow stabber. Right.
Well, it might be a cow scooper, but it's a cow, and I think it's more in charge of getting the cow, like not hurting the train. Because if you hit a cow with a flat front of a train, I bet you that breaks up a train real hard since it's a 100-pound cow.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, did you do sets?
I had sets Monday. I had every Monday we do a set at Flappers with the Conan writers and whoever else is available. So it's almost always me and Brian Kiley, plus
Conan.
No,
Conan doesn't pick up a set.
Shows for Flappers, no.
Right.
Brian McDaniel usually hosts, and then there's some
guest sets,
comics, yes. And so that's every Monday. And then Tuesday I did a benefit for pet shelters that Richie that used to work at Flappers set up, and that was pretty fun. And then I haven't had a set since then. I have a set tonight. Like I have to leave like a half hour after we finish talking for the live set at the Magic Castle.
Oh, you're doing the Tammy.
I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, it's like so much fucking work for them to put this together. They got to get these permits. They've got to be that she and Nicole are COVID compliance officers. Like they had to get all this fucking training and all this shit to put on show. I'm astonished and so grateful that they do it because I don't think they're making that much money because it costs a lot to do.
And they pay the comics.
They pay the comics, yeah.
Which is awesome. Like we have a show tonight that when this goes up.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And and we should plug it, and you should go to flappers.com/shows and figure it out. And it's going to be amazing. It's Judy Gold and
Maysoon and Mary. Wait, how do you say Mary's last name?
Biquet.
Mm-hmm. And Chanel Ali. So it's a cool lineup, fun comedy. And we always have a great crowd of people that know how to handle themselves. And that's the thing about this pet shelter it was a fun gig, but it's a lot of people, a lot of animal lovers that this is their first time on Zoom. And so just lots of conversations happening where they can't tell it's being picked up. I am used to comedy audiences now, like Zoom comedy audiences. They tend to know what they're doing now. And every once in a while you stumble onto some show where it's like, oh, all right, these people haven't done this and they don't know how loud they are. And
I have a show at 10 o'clock tonight that so they're like 3,000 people signed up. Is it? But we can only have 1,300 in it. And I was like, do you know how to push it to YouTube?
Oh my God.
And she's like, can you do that? And I said, okay, it's a benefit and for ALS. And
wow.
Yeah, and it's great.
Who's on it?
I think JP Conley and Josh Snyder, I think, from Flappers. And then Rich Shyder?
No shit.
No shit. Oh, and Alonzo might do a set. Alonzo
Bowden?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. And
that's cool. Rich Shyder, didn't he move to like Arkansas or something?
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same state. But he got married and moved and just he didn't stop doing stand-up, right? What's he?
No, I think he was a cruise guy though. I think he was a cruise ship dude and corporate dude. Like I don't know how many clubs he's still doing. Right. But so I think it's sort of dried up a little bit. But
of course.
Yeah, so I have a set tonight right after this. I'm doing Gotham in New York.
Okay, cool.
And I get to do like 15, 20, the guy said. And then this thing what?
Andy, the guy? Is it?
Andy hooked me up with him, but or Ophira did. Andy hooked me up with some of them, and Ophira hooked me up with other ones.
Okay.
But it was a guy named Rick.
Okay.
And I can give you that info. But he super cool, and I'm gonna get to close that set, and then I got the set at 10 where I get to do another 15. And I got to do 30 at the benefit I did on Wednesday. And tomorrow I'm gonna do you're gonna do a set, right? At the 9 p.m. The Sunday services has to be late tomorrow because we gotta drive to Andy's mom's. And and so it's gonna be at 9 p.m., which will be great for those of you in Southeast Asia and New Zealand. Get up.
Are you kidding? Those New Zealanders, they're out partying. They're not home watching comedy on Zoom. They fucking did it right.
They're breathing on each other. They're hugging one another.
They're at a comedy club.
They might be at a comedy club. And that lineup, it's going to be Jared Logan and Karen Rontowski and yourself. And then Hannes Finney's going to do a guestie. And then the new comic who I don't know very well, but who's been coming and asked is Vicky Plummer.
Right on.
And then Amanda Cohen, who does a lot of production on Flapper stuff as well as do a lot of stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm doing a bunch of podcasts with guys I don't know. I vaguely like, but good guys did their podcasts, so they seem dude bros, not bros.
Yeah.
But good men. Like Chad Daniels did one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing this one with Al Madrigal and Kyle Kinane. And those guys don't hang out with douchebags, except for in a work environment, right? Like we all do.
No, they're great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Al Madrigal and Kyle Kinane have a podcast together.
No, the three of us are doing some podcast Monday. We're recording some podcast Monday noon.
I have two podcasts coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recorded at least two more. People got them. And get this, Andy's starting a podcast.
What? On what?
Game design ethics.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the ethics of game design, which, by the way, there is not a game company in the world that has any kind of ethics board at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seems like he's creating a field for himself. I mean, if he
I
could
hope so.
become, he probably already is an expert and let everyone know he's an expert and talk to people about it. That might be a cool way to consult, right?
Right. Nice vision board, little lateral. And
So like, hey, not all women are whores and need to be murdered.
right.
It's
I wonder.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think that. But if they do get guests, it would be funny if they had Sarkeesian on, like Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah, I know that name.
She said that there was some sort of
Gamergate?
Watergate thing. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
but with game monsters.
You
And
know, yeah. They're saying that was sort of the on-ramp to Trump winning and to a lot of the awful QAnon stuff that's happening now.
well, it was real nice when these douchebags found each other. That's not why that's not why nerds invented the internet, you assholes. Not so
Yeah.
that Nazis could find each other. It was just so that Doctor Who fans could find each other. And I myself can't watch Doctor Who. A little too tense. Weird.
Oh yeah.
I know that you're not watching WandaVision, but can I tell you how amazing it was last night? Anyway.
Is that Disney Plus? I have to get
Disney
Plus.
Plus. So amazing.
People
But-
love it.
And somebody said, well, could I just watch WandaVision? And it's always from someone who I know didn't watch 22 previous films. And I was just like, have you seen the 22 previous films? And they're like, no. I was like, WandaVision may or may not be your jam then. I mean, it's cool. And you could just watch it and be like, what is going on? But this is awesome. But it will be more powerful. But you know what? That's what that you could say that about anything. Like
Yeah.
life is more powerful if you've read Pliny the Younger. But I'm not going to make
Oh boy, with this again, not with Pliney the Younger again. Always with this. Brandy's from Minneapolis. I read Pliney the Younger. Okay, the boxes have been ticked.
Oh God. Are you booked for Andy said the funniest thing to me the other day. He goes, at least this year you won't get a last minute, hey, can you do Valentine's Day?
No, I don't
Not
have any
true.
Valentine's Day plans.
It's already that's because it's the 13th is the Saturday. And
Oh, okay.
I've picked up I have 3 sets that night.
Damn, I don't have anything.
Right. And well, any minute now, people are gonna be like, oh, we forgot to book women, even on this online sit in your house gig.
Jackie,
So-
your Valentine's Day is my Mother's Day. That's when my shit's
that's right.
rolling in. Yeah.
That is true. It's
I think when after you have a kid, bookers mentally put you into the unfuckable, not Valentine's Day category, and they put you in the Mother's Day category. One or the
Yeah.
other, if you're female comic.
right. It was I sent you that link to the haircut comic that was working the improvs. Did you see that guy?
Well, the guy you asked me about,
Yeah, if you knew that guy.
I did. I know him a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never met him. All I know is that someone just randomly was like, do you know that guy? He's so handsome. And so I looked at him and was like, there's no way he's funny. And
I think he does well, and he's a troublemaker. But you just don't want to hear handsome about a comic.
No.
It's jarring. Please
It's-
just stop it.
it is jarring.
Shave
And-
your head or put on glasses or something. Look at Kyle offsets his beauty with glasses. Okay?
And a beard.
Please.
And a beard.
And a beard.
And I'll say this about because I was thinking about Kyle, not just you, but I was thinking about the fact that I think that because I have this theory that sort of nerds or dorky dudes, they age better. They age really well.
I like
And
this plan.
well, yeah, because because they were sort of mocked as kids, right? Because they have empathy. They had to learn empathy at some point. And then they sort of grew into their bodies and their skills. And so by the time they're like 30 or 32, they're usually devastatingly attractive for me. I was like, by like just some kid that was weedy and just a biggest nerd in the world who just kind of like was too lanky or too skinny. And now he's, 32 years old and you're like, that guy is an adult man who is funny and nice and interesting and has skills. And I'm married. I'll be over here.
Who the fuck are you talking about?
I would love to type you some names that you wouldn't know.
Your husband is like the Paul Rudd of female comic husbands. He will always look 35.
For sure. And Andy Ashcraft is exactly the guy I'm talking about. I mean, he is more handsome today than he ever has been.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's going to age into it's going to be very irritating. Because
It will be. Yeah, you're aging normally and he's staying the same.
Yeah, and I've had sort of auntie energy since I was 16. So and now I've got big auntie energy. So what are you gonna do? I was looking at that Conan set of mine with that blue blouse that I was wearing that I thought here's what happened. It looked really cute on someone else. And I was like, and then I put it on me and it looked okay, but it really, really had that big aunt energy. It had a sort of an aging, I don't know. I'm going to make some cookies and give you guys some.
Yeah. I'm telling you, our bosoms are aging us much faster than anything going on in the face.
Oh, well. Hey, let's, on that note, let's do a break.
Okay.
And let's also do Comic of the Week. Let's do it all. What the heck? Comic of the Week. Last week, I was like, has she been Comic of the Week? And this is a smart young woman right here. She emailed me. And she said, I have not been a Comic of the Week. So, squeaky wheel, Macy Isaacs, who is very funny. And Macy Isaacs is MACEYISAACS. And she doesn't have a Twitter that I could find. She has an Instagram, right, Kyle?
Yes.
And it's
at Macy Isaacs.
Yeah. And she's really funny. And she wrote a very funny anecdote about meeting you.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I think I met her on a Tammy show when they were in person at the Belly Room at the Comedy Store. She's funny. She's very funny. Yeah.
Yeah, she's really funny. So find her, follow her, give her money, give her some work.
What's the anecdote?
The anecdote was that when she said it was the Belly Room, and that she got off stage, and you literally, which is so funny because this doesn't. It sounds like an inside Laurie Kilmartin's head voice, but you must have said it out loud to her because as she walked up, you said to her, "Well, you'll do."
No, I didn't. No. What? I would never say that. That doesn't make sense.
It didn't. Well, check the email. It was okay.
Hold on.
So
You'll do. What is she?
Oh, wait a minute. She said she was very complimentary.
That'll do, pig.
No, she was very complimentary and nonchalantly said, "You're going to be fine." That's
a lot different from "you'll do." I mean,
Right.
You make me sound like Chris D'Elia going up picking off female comics from the.
No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I and literally the story is, and I quote, she was very complimentary and nonchalantly said, "You're going to be fine," as she walked down the stairs and disappeared into the night.
Because I was jealous. I'm like, I don't need another female comic who's going to do well up my ass. I got to get out of here.
You're going to be fine, Macy Isaacs. You're going to be fine. The Laurie Kilmartin, you're going to be fine. Hey, do you know what? We have an ad, Laurie. Did you know
I'm
that?
excited.
Please.
Woo!
You go for it.
Okay, you know me, I love function. First of all, I love to have shampooed hair. I take at least 1 shower a day, even in quarantine, sometimes 2. I treat myself. I like to have clean hair. But Jackie, here's the thing. We all have goals. be healthy, find work-life balance. I think this whole podcast is about finding balance. Improve our relationships. All right, now they're trolling me because I don't have one. Hey, have you thought about your hair goals? Function of Beauty is dedicated to being the world leader in customizable beauty, offering precise formulations for your hair's specific needs. First, you take a quick but thorough quiz to tell them a little bit about your hair type, and then your hair goals, such as length and volume and oil control. And because your hair changes with the season, you can change your hair goals before every shipment. Sometimes you want curly hair. Sometimes you want it stringy, Jackie.
Well, I always want volumizer just because my
Yes.
hair's super thick, but I like to make it even thicker.
Yes.
And I like, sometimes I get pink, but you can pick your color and you can pick, you can pick what it looks like and you can name it. And so I picked pink the first time. The second time, I was like, how about green?
Yeah.
And so then
Deal.
I have, I thought it was going to be more dangerous, and then I was at a store, and there is green shampoo. But the thing is this is Function of Beauty, which is amazing, which is really good, and I got to pick what color it was. So if you go to functionofbeauty.com/Jackie Laurie, you get 20% off your first order. So functionofbeauty.com/Jackie Laurie, and they have skincare, they have hair care, they have a lot of different products, and you can do it all at functionofbeauty.com/Jackie Laurie.
I'd like to reiterate something I think you neglected to say. Never buy off the shelf just to be disappointed ever again. Seriously, go to functionofbeauty.com/Jackie Laurie and take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. I think we covered it.
I think so. And that quiz takes literally like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
if that. So, yeah. So I don't know.
Hey,
I
I had a thing on the show this week.
Yeah?
And, I pitched this idea of, because Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have a podcast network. So I just pitched, the actual royal families has their own competing podcast, and it's Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles. And so we put out the casting notice for voice actors, and who sends in an audition but Juliet Mills from The Nanny and the Professor, and her husband Maxwell Caulfield from Grease 2.
wow.
And they were fucking spot on. They're both British. I mean, it was so funny, and they were really, really funny. And so they did it. And so it went up this week. But I couldn't believe it. They were so great.
That is so funny. That's
Yeah.
perfect. I think that's great. I'm looking at
these great actors are just sitting around not doing anything. There's nothing to do. They're available.
Right.
When
Much
I had
like-
another piece and we were looking at actors, and there's like guys who have had lines on Game of Thrones, and they're available just to do like a quick shoot on their iPhone at their homes. It's great.
Right. And of course you can't be surprised. Whenever we do these shows, the Comic of the Week shows at Flappers, which is tonight, by the way, at 7 p.m. Pacific. Whenever we do those shows, I always send it out to the comics that I assume eventually will say yes. Right? Like, I think, some of them, like Chandelier White was supposed to do it, but she got a writing gig, and so she has to do the writing gig. Tracy Ashley has been writing a bunch, and I've been wanting to get her on the show. She's such a great comic, but she's writing. Aisha Tyler is directing a movie in Texas, and Kathleen Madigan didn't respond. But the
I think she may have muted the word Zoom in any incoming email and is just enjoying life in Nashville.
I tweeted earlier today that one of my favorite things about a Zoom show is when I get an early link. And I like to be made co-host. And then I was like, this is like when I did one-nighters, and I would be like, tell me the show is in the hotel I'm staying at.
Oh God, so nice.
It's so nice. If it's just gonna be a one-nighter, that's what I want to do. I want to walk downstairs. I want to eat some sort of terrible, mediocre Best Western food, go into their piano lounge, do my set, and then stumble upstairs and fall over in a heap.
Jackie, you just described my dream 70s. Like that's how I want to end my career. I'm not going to go out like Gaffigan. I'm not playing theaters. I want to end doing one-nighters at a Beth's Western, exactly how you said it.
How about, I'm thinking of booking one in Victorville sometime in the 2027s. You'll drive up to Victorville. You'll stay overnight.
Beautiful.
You'll just drive right back. It'll be real. I did a Best Western in Victorville once, and it was painful. It was brutal. It was.
yeah.
It reminded me of every one-nighter in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was exactly like that, where
So
the
hit or
bar
miss.
is foolishly in the center of the room.
Right.
And so the audience is split in half, and there's no fixing
Yeah,
it.
it's terrible. Right. Well, Jackie, whenever I do, two squirrels just hopped by me on the fence. They're off to make my dog insane. But whenever I open my room in Luxembourg,
Yes. Oh yeah.
we're gonna have good sight lines for every audience member. That's my number one demand from management.
Sightlines. Excellent.
Yeah.
It's I was talking to, so I did a podcast this week, and one of the questions is what was your favorite, what's your favorite venue kind of things? What's your favorite venue for a stand-up show?
Yeah.
And I was like, a room that has low ceilings that seats 220 with 200 people that came to see me.
Oh
and
my
20
God.
people that by the end of it are my biggest fans, and then they all carry me off stage.
That's
my
they carry
dream.
you to your merch table where they buy things they already own.
And then I make $1,400 in merch. 100 grand? What's happening? Did you invest in GameStop? What
I
happened?
was just gonna pivot. No, I mean, I'm not that savvy. I have things very safely tucked away for my old age.
Just following the Dow? Follow the
No,
Dow?
I stupidly sold almost every stock that I had when Trump was elected, because I thought there's no way it's going to go over 20,000. So yeah. So I've made a series of bad decisions, but I could have made worse decisions.
Right.
But no. But I do know some comics that are day traders or have turned into that and have made a lot of money. It's really strange. You have to be doing it like 18 hours a day though. It's not a life as far as I'm concerned.
Right. I joined TikTok this week. That's as much as I could do.
That's not a stock exchange, Jackie.
It's a financial decision. I'm told. I became a creator. Anyway, so I did my Pandora ad. I did my Spotify artist of the pick of the week, and then I posted a TikTok thing. And I'm like, all right, what else am I doing? Plus I'm doing the Sunday show, so I've got the flyer out and doing my spreadsheet. I spent a good portion of and I also wrote 2 paragraphs in a short story.
Hey,
That might turn into a book, might turn into a novel. It's at least at this point a short. I'm reading, so I was thinking about writing a mystery, right? Because I've been reading a bunch of mysteries, and so I decided I went to my bookshelves, and I'm like, I remember loving Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler, right?
mm-hmm.
So I know Dashiell Hammett wrote The Thin Man, so I pick up The Maltese Falcon. I'm going to say something unpopular right now, which is I've never enjoyed it. I've never enjoyed the movie, and now I'm rereading the book, and I was reminded that I never enjoyed the movie, and I don't like this book. Because Sam Spade, I mean, he might as well have written 220 pages of bitches, man. But they're just manipulative. So, I mean, I don't know if did you ever read, anyway, probably not.
I never read
A lot of mysteries because and there's a mystery writer named Nicholas Blake.
mm-hmm.
And that's Daniel Day-Lewis's dad. Mike Kaplan named him Daniel Dad Lewis. Made you laugh against
Daniel Day-Lewis is married to Arthur Miller's daughter.
And Daniel Dad Lewis was the poet laureate of the UK. Daniel Day-Lewis's dad, Cecil Day-Lewis, was his name, and also had a nom de plume of Nicholas Blake. And he wrote the Nigel Strangeways mystery novels in the 20s and 30s.
Wow.
And he wrote them for money. He wrote pulp. They were just fiction for money, right? And the first one is so funny because you can tell that he despises the genre in the first 30 pages.
Yeah.
And then he falls in love with his own character. And he writes like 6 books. And they're actually quite sweet and quite funny. And it makes me like Daniel Day-Lewis's dad as someone who was not a monster.
Interesting.
Did you ever see I love The Thin Man.
I never saw
The
that
movies.
either.
Well, the movies, they're very funny, and but again, Dashiell Hammett has written the woman character is essentially like she hangs out with the guys. She can drink with the guys. She tolerates dirtbags. She thinks that they're interesting and exciting, and she's always there to pick up the pieces. And so she's one of the good ones. And you're just like,
Cool girl.
Yeah, she's the cool girl. And so it's as much as I like the Thin Man movies, I've decided that Dashiell Hammett is exhausting. And so I started the 2 paragraphs of this book that I've written. So now I'm an expert. I don't know if you know this. It just I'm scared to reread Raymond Chandler is I guess what I'm saying. I may just have to just reread Nicholas Blake.
I feel like I've got good elements, but I don't really have a plot for my book, you know?
Yeah.
But that can come. You just kind of gotta.
Like you got scenes, you said, right?
I got a lot of scenes, and I got characters, and I have kind of what was it? Due ex machina? I don't know. Maybe I have something that's like, oh, that's interesting. Like when I pitched it to this to my book agent, he was like, oh, I love that. So, so I have that, whatever that thing is. I don't know what that thing is called in.
Well, it's chutzpah. That's what you got, kid.
But it's like, well, then but it can be a plot can be interior as well, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm reading this book called a biography called Free Thinker.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, I don't know her name because she changed her name. She was a suffragette in early 1900s, late 1800s. And she was run out of town when she had an affair with a principal, and that became like big news. And so she left town and completely changed her name. And I'm in the stage of the book where she's got her regular real name, and it's I've got that one in my head. So when she switches, I'll switch. But her one of her last names, her family names is Chenoweth. I don't know if Kristen Chenoweth is from this family, but I think I've seen on TV shows where she comes from a very long line of Virginians. And
so they might be Mayflower people. Yeah.
Well, it also, like this lady, both of her both lines were slave owners. Both her mom and her dad's family were slave owners. And her grandfather, this was the line in the book was acquitted of beating a woman to death. Like,
wow.
So you did it, but they decided not to hold you responsible for it. Okay. A female slave. So anyway, she comes from this, it's a part of, when I'm going through Ancestry, that's not what's happening over there, but it's happening, a couple states down, and it's just like, fuck, when you.
Have you heard Joyelle Johnson's bit about the reuniting with her extended family, including the slave owner descendants?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's got a great chunk about it, man. It is hilarious. Joelle Johnson.
Is it on an album or is she just doing
I
it
don't.
now?
I just. I heard it one time. It had to be over a year ago now. So.
Well, the suffragette movement sort of left Black women behind, or completely left them behind.
Sort of, yeah. Sort of actually.
To the point where it's going to take the Voting Rights Act in '65 for Black women to
Before
have a
we get into
protected
that,
vote.
let's just take a quick Max Fun break.
Okay.
Just so that we can do that, because I think we're coming up on an hour, aren't we?
We are.
Okay. Yeah. So.
But here's the thing, like, don't you feel like because of, we're raised American, you kind of feel like American history. So spending your limited reading time, reading American history is like, should I be going into Russia or something like that? But then it's like, I don't know that I know American history that well. There's a lot of stuff, or I just know the top level and the details. I don't know. And so anyway, this is a great book about the whole suffragette movement, but also just picking up all these details in the post-Civil War and, her family, they were from rich people, but because her father was this is fascinating. Her father's a pastor, right?
Right.
And he's an abolitionist who owns slaves. And he justifies it by going, well, I inherited them. I didn't buy them. Right. So apparently that was a lot of that going on.
Yeah. Jefferson had that.
Then he was like, I can't own these people. So he moves the family to a state where he can emancipate them, where they're safe to be emancipated. Right. But it's just I don't know. And they because he's an itinerant pastor. So they moved every year. Like that was the job of a pastor, was to move to a new place every year and start over and try to convert more people. And so she was just family just traversing all over, the Eastern United States post Civil War. And then she had two of her brothers, her brothers fought on the Union side, and they fought, and the Southern family they left in Virginia fought on the Confederate side. And when you hear about all this, like, families split in two, but then you read an actual family and what happened to, it's like, fuck, that's fucking crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, that you just described my junior high years. A lot of kids, like, I was dog and horse crazy. You would have thought that would have transferred into boy crazy. Weirdly enough, turned into Civil War crazy. Very weird. That's so funny too, because I've been thinking about doing a bit about that. Because there was a guy, much like the guys that I could not get to be interested in me in junior high. So I would read these history books about the Civil War and Reconstruction, and these old photographs, and I'd be like, well, that guy's pretty handsome. He's been dead, 100 years? 130? And so I had about as much chance of getting with any of those guys in those old photographs as I did with the guy who played trumpet that I had a crush on. So
you get a little bit more chance with the trumpet player, but I don't know, Jack. I don't know what you were like.
I was pretty solitary. A solitary child. I was doing laps around South Milwaukee. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I got a couple of shows tonight. I have at least 3 podcasts this week.
See, I'm not looking forward to podcasts. I have podcasts.
Well, I have to record some Dork Forests, and there's this guy in Australia who likes the Dork Forest, but he wants to sell it to Australian television. So or radio, because it's not the video, actually. It's just, he just wants to make a couple of test episodes, right?
Yeah.
And so we recorded one of them, and we record for like 45 minutes. He edited it down to 20. And what I loved about it, like the one that I did, I think I told you about it last week, the penny farthing polo player, the bicycle dude. Anyway, whatever it was, this guy from Australia should book the fucking Dork Forest. Not that the Dork Forest isn't wonderful, but where the hell did he find this guy? This guy founded a penny farthing bicycle polo club. what? Anyway, so I talked to him for 45 minutes and he was fascinating and adorably dorky. And so he cleaned that up, and we're going to do another one this week with some lady who's really into fish.
Oh my God. Sometimes I have to admit it sounds like hell, Jackie.
Well,
Tell
the thing
me who
is,
you're interviewing. I'm like, what? You're gonna do a deep dive on fish?
right. It sounds, the thing is I know that it's not going to be boring, only because I've been proven over and over and over again that someone has some weird topic, and then all of a sudden you're like, why would that be? And then what? And then you end up, that's the greatest thing about the Dork Forest. It's the difference between faith and believing. It's just so beautiful. You just have to have faith. What? Good Lord. Someone described, this is gonna get heavy, but someone described a lot of fear, not being frightened, right? Not being afraid in the moment, but like the sort of deep-seated fear that people live with sometimes. That is its own kind of faith. Because if you are afraid, if you have this, you live in fear like that, you have a belief system that has faith that the worst thing in the world's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is its own faith, and
for
it is just as valid as believing that the worst thing in the world isn't going to happen.
Yes. I think about my mom because she was constantly afraid. She wouldn't spend any money. Even at the end of her life, she had money and she was terrified to spend it. She thought it wasn't real or it would go away. She couldn't believe that she even had it, you know?
Right.
Like, I always thought she should have just, my dad always promised to take her on a cruise, right? He believed he would live to be 100, and he was unable to stop working for even 2 weeks to take his wife on a cruise. I don't know that he could have afforded it, but I mean, technically they could have sold the house and just had a nice last 5 years together, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't. And so when he died, she's like, well, I don't want to go on a cruise. I said, you should take Mrs. Kelly. Both of you should go on a cruise and just enjoy it. You're both widows, have fun. But she couldn't move her head she just was like, this is what I wanted and I didn't get it. And now I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna sit here and curdle in it. I don't know. I come from a woman who was incredibly frustrated, I believe, and mostly silent but angry about it, which is I obviously have those tendencies myself, and it's so hard to break yourself out of something that you don't even notice because you were raised in it and marinated in it, and it feels normal.
Here's the good thing, though, is what I see you doing is in the last 5 years that we've really known each other is you'll take your son and go somewhere. You'll take yourself and go somewhere.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to wait. I want to go to Tokyo and eat 7-Eleven food. And so off you go.
Great food.
There, I understand.
Won't have you disparaging 7-Eleven.
Right. I have been corrected so many times about 7-Eleven food in Japan. They're like, no, you don't understand. And I'm like, I don't. And but the and then you took your son to Ireland. You took him to Luxembourg. You took him to Paris. Right?
Yeah.
These are all neat things that your mom wouldn't have done. So, I mean, and you can at least, because we all come from this place where you're like, no, don't do that. Don't relive those errors or that or those fears. Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess everyone's struggling to not be the worst part of their parents.
I think we're close to an hour.
We are at 58:28.
You leaned in very, I'm going to say in a quite creepy fashion, and the lights in your garage went out. And I thought, has she been moved in a profound way?
Demon
that
Jackie.
It's changed.
This is goth Jackie. And I don't know. What else you got besides our show tonight at Flappers, which everyone should come to if they want to?
I'm going to do The Debaters, which is the show that airs in Canada. Mm-hmm. And it's more prep work than I thought it would be when I said yes to it.
Yes.
So I've been working through that rage. But it'll be fine.
Right. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fun. I'm doing it with Deanne Smith.
Fun.
These two comics debating each other, so it'll be fun. She's great and she's Canadian, so she'll have the upper hand because she knows the how their lingo up there.
I think I did that show where, is it the one where you each have to pick and it's an absurd topic?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because mine was Tarzan versus King Kong, who was the real king of the jungle or something like that.
Okay.
And I picked Tarzan, which is clearly like Kong didn't. I know that.
Was Kong in the jungle? He was.
It's some of the
Island
movies.
jungle.
Island jungle sometimes, but Tarzan, there were laws in Tarzan's jungle. There was no guns in Tarzan country. I don't know if you're familiar with the first law of Tarzan, and so I mean he had some sort of structure. Anyway, I won that debate, and I'm still proud of it. And it was 4 years ago. So
did you throw in Pliny the Younger as your closing argument?
I'm storming out now.